The Bay Area economy and the state economy has done so well, and yet we just don't have enough places for people to live. In the middle of a crisis that's been in the making for years, it's so important that everybody have a home. Our team at Enterprise cooks up solutions that are really practical that we can put in place with partners in cities, the region, and those are policy, capacity building, and finance tools.
Enterprise is bringing people together to solve the housing crisis. On a very practical level, they have helped us successfully compete for a record year of affordable housing funding in Oakland from the state of California.
We were already in a housing crisis prior to the pandemic. Those of us who had the privilege to shelter in place, that's great. But those of the folks that we work with, no. A lot of the essential workers live in East Oakland, and it's important to make sure that they have the housing that they need to support their families.
Preservation is helping community-based organizations acquire and preserve existing housing to keep it permanently affordable. It's really critical that people pay attention to preservation. They see the value of it as an anti-displacement strategy, and they invest in it and support it. Unity Council is one of a handful of locally rooted community-based organizations that we work with in the city of Oakland. So when the city has funding that it's going to release to do this work, we work together with a variety of other organizations to provide feedback and technical expertise to the city to make sure that when they put that money out there, it hits the ground in a way that is actually going to work for communities.
What Enterprise brings to the table that unique is that they're very connected to folks in the community. The fact that they are also so acutely aware of social justice and equity issues, and I think that's important because we have to be able to speak the same language.
So the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program is a state funding program. Its goal is to address climate change by making it easier for residents to walk, bike, and take public transit to the places that they need to get to.
East Palo Alto, as part of the San Mateo County community, has lots of issues that are really present throughout the Bay Area in terms of the high cost of housing.
This community has faced a lot of pressure from growth in the surrounding area. For many of our residents here at Lighttree Apartments, having affordable housing has been a lifeline for them to remain in this community. The ASIC award was absolutely critical to our ability to redevelop Lighttree Apartments. The need for affordable housing has grown so much that we see the potential here to not only rehab existing units, but to add more density and allow more families to reside here in East Palo Alto.
What's great about Enterprise, it's really worked to help us as a partner and with some of the technical aspects of applying for funding.
This is one of these cases where you have many entities working together. Without Enterprise coming in, this award would have probably taken us 2 to 3 years to get.
Our technical assistance team was the TA provider for the Lighttree project. The major role that we played was just coordinating between the developer and the public partners to acquire funds for affordable housing.
Hope SF is transforming distressed public housing into thriving mixed-income communities without displacing any of the original residents. You cannot achieve the goals of a major housing revitalization and community development initiative without an organization that has the kind of expertise that Enterprise has.
I am so excited about the work that I get to lead on behalf of Enterprise within Hope SF and beyond that examines the dynamics and frameworks for enacting healing-centered community development and trauma mitigation.
We could not do what we do without the public-private partnership that is the Partnership for Hope SF. And Enterprise sort of led with that bold vision, that commitment, that sense of accountability in terms of demanding that the mayor's office and that the public sector ensure that at the highest levels of city government, there was commitment to these communities.
Enterprise's vision for the region is to have a racially just region. There are solutions. A lot of them are rooted in the 3P framework, which is to produce sufficient housing, preserve affordable housing that we have, and to protect tenants to make sure that they're not displaced.
Those who have very low incomes or people experiencing homelessness in the Bay Area are really at the forefront of the crisis. It's critically important for us to think about solutions to homelessness and housing insecurity as quickly as we can, especially in the context of the COVID pandemic. I think it's been clear that people who are most vulnerable in our communities are experiencing this crisis more than most.
Our housing crisis is not a crisis that exists in one city or one county. It's a crisis that cuts across 101 cities and 9 counties. And we know that the individual decisions by any one city or county has not solved the crisis. And what AB 1487 and BAFA did with Enterprise's leadership was to bring everyone together, create a structure for a regional housing strategy and a pathway to addressing our affordable housing crisis at a regional level.
COVID-19 has illustrated just how important housing is, because you can't shelter in place without shelter. You can't properly quarantine without shelter. And that's why Enterprise's mission in the fight for affordable housing is incredibly important.
Systemic change, that is the ultimate victory. And Enterprise gets that big picture. They have worked both at the local, regional, and statewide level to actually change policies so that we never get into this crisis again.